tell you a story. A ceramics teacher announced on opening day that he was dividing the class into 2 groups. All those on the left side of the studio, he said, would be graded solely on the quantity of work they produced. All those on the right side, solely on the quality. His procedure was simple. On the final day of class, he would bring in the bathroom scales and weigh the work of the quantity group. 50 pounds of pots rated an A, 40 pounds a B, and so on. Those graded on quality, however, needed to produce only 1 pot, albeit a perfect one, to get an A. Well, it came grading time, and a curious fact emerged. Their works of the highest quality were all produced by the group being graded for quantity. It seems that while the quantity group was busily churning out piles of work and learning from their mistakes, the quality group had sat theorizing about perfection, and in the end had little more to show for their efforts than grandiose theories and a pile of dead clay. This story comes from the book of Art and Fear by David Bales and Ted Orland, and it explains one of the biggest issues we have when it comes to sitting down and making art. We may think it's easy, or that we have to be struck with inspiration, or that every piece has to be a masterpiece, but none of that is true. I am someone who often struggles with motivation to start making art, and since I am starting a new sketchbook today, I thought it would be a good time to talk about that. Up until the end of last year, I wouldn't have considered myself an artist. It wasn't something I was trying to do, and I only occasionally made art as a hobby. I grew up always drawing, making crafts, and so on, but then I stopped. It has been a slow process of getting back into art, and that's okay. If you are someone that has stopped making art and you want to get back into making art, it's always okay to start again, which, yes, I know is the hardest part. I often wondered how I could want to paint, but never find the motivation to do it. It's so funny how we can hold ourselves back from something we want to do. For me, most of the time, it was because of my expectations. I was worried that I would be wasting my time and that it wouldn't work out. This put a lot of pressure on myself and the artwork. But I have since learned that 1, it's not about the outcome of the art, and 2, it's okay to fail. Making art is about the process. It's about learning. It's not about making a masterpiece every single time you sit down to paint, which means it's okay to fail. I recently heard this amazing quote from Thomas J. Watson that says, "If you want to increase your success rate, double your failure rate." This goes back to the story from the beginning. The highest quality ceramics came from the group who were making the most ceramics because they accepted that it was a process. They failed, then they learned, and then they succeeded. If you want to be successful in art, whatever that means to you, you have to double your rate of failure. And failure is normal. Fear is always going to exist. Whether it's fear of the outcome, failure, or feeling like an imposter, you have to make the art despite the fear. And I know this may sound a little discouraging at first, but think of it this way. If everyone has fears about what they're working on, that means even the people you look up to feel the same way you might be feeling now. It means that you don't have to try to defeat your fear. You can make the art you want now with your worries and your fears tagging along. That, to me, is encouraging. This painting that I am creating here is a representation of everything I've discussed. As I mentioned, it has been a slow process for me to get back into art, but the more I do it, the easier it gets. This is my 3rd watercolor painting I have made this year after a long time and very little experience. Already, I can see the growth. I can tell that I am learning, and because of that, I know this painting doesn't have to be perfect. It can just exist. That takes so much pressure off my shoulders and allows me to enjoy the process. And that is what art is about. This painting also represents starting something new in my life. I am currently traveling on the opposite side of the country from home. So it's a chance for me to document all the new and exciting places I'm getting to see. And yes, I did bring along my cat. I really love this idea that I came up with where the car is driving off to a new, unknown destination. And later on, you'll see that the road sign will work as my title page. Something else we tend to struggle with as artists is our idea of inspiration. People think of artists as being swept up in a frenzy of magical inspiration, and by the end of it, they have a masterpiece. The truth is, we are rarely struck by inspiration. The creative process is up and down. It's a roller coaster. Sometimes you feel so excited to draw or paint, and sometimes you don't even want to look at a pencil. But creativity should be looked at as a choice. It's not easy. Sometimes it feels like work. That is normal. Even if something is your passion, whether it's art or not, it can still feel like work. The trick is to show up even when you don't feel like it. Another struggle we might have is playing the comparison game. It took Leonardo da Vinci 4 years to paint the Mona Lisa. So if it looks like that artist that you follow on social media makes art every day, understand that 1, they may not be making art every day, it just looks like it. Or 2, just because they do make art every day doesn't mean that you have to. Every artist works differently. main takeaway that I want you to have about finding motivation to make art is that you don't have to have it. You don't have to have motivation. You just have to make art. I know, easier said than done, but it has helped me. But in case you don't like that answer, here's a few other tips you can try. First, you can try manufacturing inspiration. I like to hop on Instagram or YouTube or TikTok and watch other artists creating art. Sometimes that sparks inspiration in me to want to do the same thing. Or I may scroll through Pinterest and see something that sparks a new idea, and that's exciting. New ideas can fuel your motivation. Second, try setting deadlines. This has been one of my biggest motivators for making art. If I have all the time in the world to make a painting, then I will use all the time in the world to make it. Third, try making a list of all the reasons you want to make art. It's a good practice to remove our negative thoughts and worries about doing something and replace them with positive thoughts. These are just a few of the tips that have helped me in the past, and I hope that they can help you too. If you'd like to see more videos like this, leave a comment to let me know. And if you'd like to support me and my art, you can subscribe and like this video. Thanks so much for watching until the end. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.